Okay, hello everyone. So today we are with Matthias and Cameron from Cloak today. So we are going to speak about the project and we have some questions for you, man. But first, I would like to introduce you to the community for those of us who don't know you very well. So could you introduce you and your path, etc., your background?
Sure, yeah. First of all, thanks a lot for having us. Always fun to talk about this stuff. Yeah, my background is I'm actually a computer engineer. I've worked in embedded systems for a while, designed system on a chip solutions in hardware and software. Joined the blockchain space kind of early already in 2015, but not really as a developer. Also back then, I didn't fully grasp yet how big this actually is. I caught up a few years later, got involved. Or first of all, I also, I'm very libertarian minded, and so it didn't take long for me to also take note of Dan Larimer and his incredible track record. And so this is basically how I also, got to know EOS quite early and was very excited about it. And yeah, later on got involved as a developer in a DeFi project on EOS, which was called, I guess, Vigor. Unfortunately, it wasn't that successful later on. It was a very anticipated and also very innovative DeFi protocol, but it had unfortunately some flaws, as it turned out later. But anyway, for me, it was basically the entry into EOSIO development, and yeah, this is, I guess, how it all started. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. We heard about ZEOS, yes, before in the Ultra community. No, you switched to Cloak. I will have a question for that a bit later. I would like to know also how did you get into developing projects like Cloak, and has computer science always been your passion, or did you do something before that?
So first of all, if it's my passion, absolutely, I guess. I started to learn programming at the age of 13. I had a computer very early on already, which wasn't that common yet in households. It was at the age of 6, basically. It was all thanks to my dad, who was also, a total tech guy. This is how I got to study all that. So yeah, this was always part of my life. And when it comes to blockchain and Cloak, how I got into that. As I said, DeFi was already my first entry, and it was also the thing that got me most excited about blockchain. One thing that got me so excited about EOS was because I understood that this is going to be like a really, really cool platform to build these decentralized finance applications on. That I got interested in Vigor so much because of that. It was one of the very first apps, basically, implementing a really sophisticated DeFi protocol on top of EOS. And then there was another project that was once the most anticipated in EOS. It was called PEOS, for, I guess, private EOS. And what these guys were trying to do was building something like Monero, but on top of the EOS blockchain. So I found that quite interesting. Unfortunately, they ran into some issues that they weren't able to solve back then. I later encountered the same problem with my project. But yeah, that inspired me basically to start with Cloak, which was called Zeos back then. I called it Zeos because PEOS was following the Monero approach, Monero obfuscation, which uses different cryptography to obfuscate transactions. I was following the Zcash approach, though, which, basically everything about Zeos or /Cloak is built on their tech, and hence the name Zeos also, by the way, of course, with the Z and then EOS, because it was built on EOS. But since we were moving away from EOS now and now to Ultra, we thought it was good to do a little rebrand. So this is, you know, basically how the name Cloak came to exist. But yeah, the inspiration for that was definitely the PIOS project back then. You know, what they were building, found that quite interesting because you know, it's kind of bringing together the best of both worlds, right? You have these privacy coins, but you cannot do anything on those blockchains. You cannot build applications on Monero or Zcash, right? But then on the other hand, you have these general purpose EOSIO blockchains where you can build all these amazing applications, but you don't have privacy, right? The blockchain is fully transparent. So that was got me excited, and yeah, I started my journey, you know, studying all the Zcash stuff, getting familiar with zero knowledge tech, and then eventually started building, yeah, what's now called Cloak on EOS, and now we're obviously on Ultra.
That's super cool, man. That's super cool. And we are very happy as the Ultra community to have you building on Ultra. That's very nice. I think you are one of the first one to actually build a real protocol in Ultra. There are not a lot right now. So congratulations for that. And I was also wondering, you spoke about the name of the project, so Cloak. I'm not sure if you said it, but could you explain like the signification of the name and why did you choose Cloak and not ZEOS anymore? I know for ZEOS, but not for Cloak.
Right, sure. So the name. So first of all, yeah, ZEOS. That was just the first iteration of this, I guess, on EOS, and we just rebranded. It's basically the same thing. But what I like about the name Cloak is that it perfectly describes what the protocol actually does. So the main objective about Cloak is actually really not building a privacy token in itself, but rather providing a protocol that allows users to cloak, quote unquote, their underlying blockchain assets and make them basically invisible to observers of the, you know, underlying public blockchain. So you can think of it as a cryptocurrency like Zcash or Monero or any other cryptocurrency, like legacy cryptocurrency like Bitcoin or whatever, built on top of the EOSIO blockchain or Ultra blockchain. Let's call it Ultra. So, and what it allows you to do is it allows you to basically create a legacy cryptocurrency wallet by picking a private key, right? Everyone who has ever dealt with Bitcoin probably knows how that works. You basically choose a seed phrase, and from that, you know, you derive private key and then payment addresses and all that. So Cloak works exactly like that. It implements a protocol that supports exactly that. You can create a Cloak wallet at the click of a button and move assets, fungible as well as non-fungible, from your Ultra blockchain accounts, you know, which is fully transparent and fully observable for anyone, into these Cloak privacy wallets. And yeah, you know, so what it actually does is it cloaks your assets and makes them invisible. So this is basically where the name comes from. I love it. Yeah, it's a really, really cool name.
That's a really good name. Yeah.
On the top, yeah.
Okay, perfect. I was also wondering, just something else before. I know there is the ceremony for the protocol. Is it still something actual or not? Like, as a user, can I still do it if I want to contribute to Cloak's project?
You mean as a developer?
Yeah, like I saw you were looking for people to download, you know, the protocol and to make it run on their computer. I don't know if I explain it the right way.
I'm not exactly sure what you're
The trust ceremony normally, something like that.
yeah. Oh, My laptop died. So trusted ceremony. Okay, sorry. Yeah, no, I get it. Yeah, exactly. So the trusted ceremony is a very critical part of the project because of the proving system that we're using. And I don't want to I don't want to get too technical and explain all the the reason for that. Short answer is we're going with growth 16. That is a very 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 lightweight proving system on the verifier side, on the blockchain side. Where CPU is a very, very expensive blockchain resource, so you want to have it as efficient as possible there. So that's why we chose this. There are other proving systems already that don't require a trusted ceremony anymore, but Growth 16 does. It's not a big deal though, because of the amount of people you get involved. The more people that participate there, the more secure the setup becomes. So what this trusted ceremony is for is it creates the parameter files for the zero knowledge proofs. So every zero knowledge proof is generated based on an arithmetic circuit, and the parameter files basically provide the necessary data that you need to do this computation to generate the proof. However, these parameter files need to be generated in a way that no one has full knowledge, no single person should have full knowledge about how these parameter files actually come to exist. Because if that was the case, then this person could generate fake proofs and essentially inflate the token supply within the protocol, And in order to mitigate this risk, the Zcash engineers basically came up with the idea of a trusted ceremony. It's also called a multi-party computation, because every participant in this in the ceremony, runs a computation locally on his machine and contributes some entropy basically to the zk-SNARK parameters. And only if all participants of the trusted ceremony would collude, they could compromise, the files, or the setup would be compromised in that case, because then, they would all have knowledge about, the entropy that they contributed. So that means, in reverse, that only one participant needs to be honest, and then the whole ceremony is safe. And another important thing about that, because this is always like one of the big, FUD points, right? FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt. When people bring up Growth 16 and protocols based on that, it's important to understand really what the risk is, right? I always, I don't get tired to emphasize this point because it's so important to understand. So the cool thing is the way the Zcash guys set this whole thing up is they split this trusted ceremony in two phases. Phase one basically was held by them almost a decade ago, and this was more of a generic part of the trusted ceremony that generates parameter files that can be reused by other projects in the future for their specific circuit implementations. So long story short, what that means is they have already had a phase one trusted ceremony with almost 90 participants, again, almost a decade ago. And we are now just conducting the phase two, which is project specific or specific to our Cloak protocol, and where we already have about 30 participants so far, but people can still join. It's very easy. You can join our channel and we help you to do this. It's very, very simple. You just have to run a program on your machine basically, and then upload the output later. And in order for this whole setup to get compromised, all participants of this phase two trusted ceremony would have to collude with all participants of the phase one ceremony that was held a long time ago and had a lot of participants. So just so people understand, what this is all about. So it's about generating the zk-SNARK parameter files, and the setup is essentially safe if at least one of these 120 people or so so far at this point, remains honest and doesn't collude. So people can judge for themselves how likely that is. But yeah, I would take the chance to invite people also from the Ultra community. Actually, we already had people from Ultra joining. It's so cool. I'm really blown away by the community engagement in this ecosystem. It's so cool. We had people just, without comment, just joining the channel of the Trusted Ceremony, take the latest parameter files without any comment, download it, run the computation, and then a few hours later uploaded the new file. So it's very easy. Anyone can join, and we appreciate your participation.
Yeah, I saw that actually on the channel. I am on a Cloak channel, but I didn't do it yet, so I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna note it for later. And I also you spoke about Zcash, so I will deep dive in that. We had a question about Zcash. So Cloak is often said to like a Zcash using at least Zcash technology. And we saw you frequently engage with the Zcash community, like notably on X. Have you received any feedback from the Zcash community? Did they speak about Cloak? Did they check a bit the protocol? Maybe did the trust ceremony?
Yeah, that's a great question. Actually, just over the last month, we had a lot of exposure within the Zcash community, thanks to Cameron, who's managing our Twitter. We even had the founder of Zcash following us, and that basically led to many Zcash community members also joining and starting to follow the project. So I don't know if anyone of them had really taken a close look at the code, which is already open source. So basically the whole, as you said, it's all like the whole Cloak protocol is built on Zcash tech, which is all open source, of course. And by the way, like very well documented and the code very well commented. So I give them credit whenever I can, because it's only thanks to their incredible work that I have been able to build all that, and also, educate myself about the matter, because it's very cutting edge what they put out. They have leading the space in zero knowledge tech over the last couple years, like, no other group of engineers. So yeah, I was very excited that they took note of the project, and we even had some Zcash, enthusiasts joining us on Telegram. So yeah, that's really cool. We all welcome them. But yeah, of course, it is a distinct project from Zcash, right? It is not directly related to it. It is just, the protocol is just, like a clone, basically, you could say. But it is somewhat of its own thing, but it's all based and all massively inspired and influenced by Zcash's design, in particular Zcash Sapling, but also Zcash Orchard. So yeah, I've studied all of the applications, and a lot of knowledge went into Cloak that originates in Zcash, basically. Which is really great.
We had a question for that. So that's cool. Because we also have some people wondering, like, what are the differences between a protocol like Zcash and a protocol like Cloak? So we know you are working on the assets, for example, not just sending anonymously crypto, but also NFTs, etc. Can you tell us a bit about that?
Sure, yeah. No, I love to highlight this, because this is also what makes Cloak stand out compared to these other privacy cryptos out there. I already touched on it a little bit earlier, I guess, but I just repeat it one more time, because this is, I guess, crucial to understand if you really want to understand what sets it apart or what makes it different from Zcash. Is really the fact, looking at Zcash or Monero as cryptocurrencies, what they really just enable their users to do is basically really just holding the native cryptocurrency, right, like Monero or Zcash, in their wallets and sending them from wallet A to wallet B, basically. But that's about it, right? You don't have applications on the blockchain. You don't have different assets or what you just mentioned, NFTs and all these things. They don't exist on those blockchains. These blockchains are solely built for the Zcash application or for the Monero application, which really just allows you to do what I just said, right? Sending token A, or Monero, basically the native cryptocurrency, or Zcash from wallet A to wallet B. What's special about Cloak, or what's different, is that it's built on top of a general purpose blockchain, which has a much more sophisticated environment, right? You have this asset diversity, right? All these different tokens, but then also different token types, right? Like fungible, non-fungible, and so on. So it's a vastly or more diverse environment, right, when it comes to assets. Plus, you have third-party applications, because anyone can build apps on these public blockchains, right? And you can build cool apps on these blockchains because they're so powerful compared to other smart contract platforms. And this is probably the most interesting part, because Cloak is a general purpose privacy solution for the Ultra blockchain. That means out of the box, it supports to cloak any fungible asset, but also any non-fungible asset, NFTs, right? Uniques. You can cloak all of that and make it invisible, basically. But not only that, the most innovative aspect of this protocol is certainly that it allows any application to very easily also, and that's the most exciting part about it. I can't wait to communicate that more in the future with demo applications. It's as simple as it could possibly be to integrate basically your very own blockchain application into the Cloak privacy protocol, and basically then allow your dApp users to access your application in full privacy, basically. And one other big app that I have been working on over the last several years is a decentralized exchange, which, by the way, also is going to launch soon on Ultra. More on that in the future for sure. But one interesting feature about this DEX is that it does exactly that. It allows, it integrates with the protocol and allows people to trade privately on the DEX, which is really, really cool. I'm really so excited to share and demonstrate all that. So I don't know. I think I drifted a little bit away, but I guess those are I guess we're talking about the differences, right, to Zcash and stuff. So it is really way more than Zcash. It functions in a very similar way, but it allows all these amazing things, that you can do on a smart contracts blockchain like Ultra.
Of course, yeah. So Cloak is not just a currency, but really much more compared to Zcash and Monero. That's very interesting. I'm not gonna ask too many things on the DEX because man, I think you need to keep something secret. So I'm not gonna ask it right now. But I have a question. On Ashes of Mankind. So Ultra's game, flagship game coming soon to Ultra. So we have your involvement in the DApp. Can you tell us about your role in the project without revealing too much? Like, if it is secret, it's okay. Just tell me, it's fine. If you can say a bit, that's good.
Yeah, sure. I don't think I'm supposed to share any details about the game itself, right? The mechanics. So there's a lot to come. I know this is also highly anticipated, and I'm quite involved actually in the development. I'm basically building large parts of the application of the full stack. Basically, the smart contracts. There are a number of contracts. Just for the game economy, basically, but then also the front end of the app. So again, I'm not exactly sure how much of the details I can share, but what I know is, what's probably not a big secret, it's gonna launch in a couple months from now. I don't think the date is really set yet, but we're making really good progress on that front for sure. So the first version of the app or of the game basically is already completed. It still needs a lot of testing, but the whole economy, all the asset conversion, all that, this is all looking really good already. So yeah, I guess I better leave it at that. I don't want to get in trouble.
Okay, that's
But
fine.
yeah, lots to come on Ultras. Very exciting.
Yeah, man, that's so exciting. We are personally at Ultra, we are all waiting for that. Like Ashes of Mankind, seeing the games. There are game nights where people are playing Ashes of Mankind, but for now it's a bit closed because they are waiting to open it again. But people are so excited, sorry, and we just can't wait to see that. That's really really exciting.
Yeah, what's
I
really,
was also.
if I may add to this real quick, so what's really cool about that, and that was also so interesting for me, is that it's really one of the first games, at least I'm aware of, where you have so many assets tokenized, right, and that really leverages blockchain, the way you could leverage it, and not many games that I have seen so far are actually doing that. So this is something really really cool about this AOM app.
Plus,
Sorry.
I think there was members having a question on that about the fact to transfer assets privately from a game or anything, and I was asked what was the use case or benefits of transferring anonymously an asset in a game. Like, what use case could we get from that?
Right. So yeah, that's also maybe interesting because all the assets are tokenized, right? Including the NFTs. You could also cloak them, of course. So this is going to work out of the box right away. You can move all your precious in-game assets into your Cloak privacy wallet. So, just to obfuscate ownership. You will then later on also be able to trade them privately, right? Which is really cool. In order to use the assets inside the game, as of now, you would still have to transfer them back into your Ultra account because the dApp itself only supports, integration with Ultra blockchain accounts. However, it's definitely possible that maybe perhaps in the future, people in charge would decide that they would also like, to integrate with Cloak and allow gamers basically to access the dApp privately as well. You could really, have really full privacy for everyone who is basically playing the game. And the benefits of that. I think you were asking also about that. I mean, yeah, you can think about this, right? Do you always want to have all your stuff exposed, right, to everyone? Particularly, there might some in-game assets could be worth like thousands or tens of thousands of dollars, right?
Yeah.
Which might also make you a target, right? So privacy is so critical also to just protect people from these kind of things. This is many people are not aware of how crazy actually the current state and blockchain is. With having everything exposed to the whole world. Once people can link your identity to your wallet, you
Yeah.
might become a target, right, for criminals.
Yeah, of course.
So you want to have privacy, to protect people from these kind of things, and that of course also applies to in-game assets, right? Could be very very valuable as well.
Yeah, definitely. That's cool that you're speaking about that because I had also a question of that. Like about the privacy. Um, we know there have been several attacks on some crypto investors, etc. recently. So we start to see the importance of privacy. From your side, how do you envision, sorry, the future of privacy in the world, and what's your vision in the next 5, 10, 20 years? Like, do you think users will take care of their privacy, will start to do something about it? What do you think?
So 20 years, that's a long time in crypto, but let's maybe start with the 5-year window. So I totally anticipate, and you can already see the trend that privacy in general just will become more and more of a thing in crypto. And in my personal opinion, it's a critical aspect or critical thing to solve if you really want to see mainstream adoption, because who is really willing to do serious business on a blockchain, if everyone can watch you, right? And what we just discussed, all the risks that come with it. So I definitely see privacy becoming more and more of a thing. Again, it's already happening. More and more people are catching up and understand the importance of it. And I think this is a trend that is gonna continue. Definitely. It's also interesting to see how much innovation also still takes place, in exactly this space. With blockchain, basically the whole zero knowledge stuff, which is really mathematically already some older stuff, but it has never seen such a great application. Blockchain and zero knowledge takes like really just a perfect match. And it's incredible to watch what's going on. And yeah, I personally, I mean, I might be a little bit biased, but I can see, how the importance of solutions like Cloak will just become, more and more in the future, for sure. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if that
That's
answered the question, but yeah.
that's gonna be interesting. But yeah, no, that's okay. And we have a more tricky one as a question. Um, like there's a common criticism against blockchain. So this critique is the use of blockchain for illegal activities. So, for example, fraud, illicit transactions won't enhanced privacy worsen these issues. Like, could we not imagine the fact people are anonymous in their transactions? Will that not enforce their protection against the justice, etc.? Will not like how could we prevent or mitigate this kind of abuses like fraud, etc.? How could we do with anonymous transactions?
Yeah, you hear that a lot, right? The criticism, it empowers criminals, right? I mean, you can say that about a lot of things, right? I mean, if you look at, for example, the internet, right? There are so many benefits, right, about the internet. It literally saves lives every single day. It has become such a critical part of society. But of course, it's also used by criminals, right? Are we now gonna shut down the whole internet because of that, right? So the same applies, of course, to privacy. And I mentioned it earlier already. It is not, a crime to have to want to be private, right? It's like one of the most basic human desires, and most importantly, it also protects you from crime. So this is about, and it's the same with blockchain. I mean, the governments don't like it because they're not so much in control anymore. So you get this criticism often from that side. But you can make the same argument also about cash itself, right? I mean, it's still the most used medium of exchange for illegal activities, terrorism, and all that. And of course, we don't want that, right? But what are we going to do now? Shutting down cash? I mean, yeah, I guess they want that. But again, you can make this argument almost about everything. So this is about blockchain, but also. Sorry.
Yeah, no, sorry, I had a bit because I'm watching the X space in the same time to see if everything is correct. So that was the sound. Sorry.
There was a question. So no, I just gonna say that you can blockchain or also particularly privacy on blockchain. Has nothing to do with empowering criminals in any way, shape, or
Okay.
form. It's really meant to empower the individual to take charge of their own finances, and privacy obviously is a critical part or critical aspect of all that to protect the innocent. So this is what it's all about. And yeah, obviously, I mean, and then I guess you were asking that as well, what you can do about criminals using it. Well, Not much, I guess. We need to fight crime with everything we have, but we need to be careful to not violate other people's rights by doing so, right? Or have this general punishment, or for everyone just because they are criminals. This is a very dangerous and very slippery slope, right? A very dangerous road to go down, and I don't think we want that. We will wake up in a complete tyrannical system. And this is also why I see blockchain and the importance of all that, because it really, takes back some of the liberties that we once used to have, also with cash and all that. And, but government overreach, has become more and more over the years. And I find that very concerning. And I'm glad that we have blockchain tech and solutions that, can help us to, have some of these liberties back, basically. So that's all I'm going to say.
As you said, that's a very basic right. Like everyone should be able to have his own privacy. So yeah, definitely right. And that's a bit concerning to see the evolution right now. Even if we have blockchain, there are a lot of abuses, etc. about from companies, governments. So that's a bit difficult right now. And by the way, how could we deal things with governments, with private blockchains, etc.? How could things evolve with legislation, etc.? Are you not afraid for Cloak or Zcash or anything?
Well, let's see what happens. There's an interesting case going on with Tornado Cash. I don't know if you guys are following this, like one of these big privacy protocols on Ethereum. And actually, the latest rulings in this case were quite promising. They were actually very much pro freedom. So I'm glad to see that. In general, governments are very slow catching up with new technologies, right? And creating laws for that and all that. So we're still very much in a gray area with all that. Of course, we're not doing anything illegal here or anything like that, right? We're just really building a solution, really just an application on the blockchain. We're not expecting much support, I guess, from government, or perhaps even pro privacy regulations, because they tend to go the other way. But then also on the other hand, again, we're not breaking the law or anything. We don't do anything illegal. We're really just building software. And I guess, again, at this point, there are no clear regulations anywhere really in place. Plus, it is a very global thing, right? Like the internet itself, the same applies to blockchain, if not more. So yeah, let's see what happens. It's definitely interesting times to be alive.
Yeah. Anyway, I think you will not be alone in that situation if that happens. But we'll cross our fingers and hope it will go well. But should be the case. And okay, let's speak about something more happy. Let's speak about Ultra, because you based your protocol on Ultra. So I think you already said it in the interview you had with Ultra, but let's repeat it for people. Why did you choose Ultra, and why that choice?
Yeah. So my whole blockchain career, if you will, was basically, or is based on EOSIO tech. I was never really interested in other blockchains. I've taken a look around. I've done my homework on it, and I just found most of the other blockchain networks to be just way too inferior. And it's very technical. I don't want to get too deep into this, but it's really, people have no idea how sophisticated or how advanced the EOSIO blockchain software is, which is what Ultra is based on, or what Ultra is literally running on. So that's where I'm coming from, and that's where you can really build the cool stuff. And then Ultra in particular, to be honest, Ultra wasn't even that much on my radar when I was deeply involved in EOS, obviously, and then you have a few other spin-offs, you could say, I guess, from EOS. Like Telos is probably the most famous one because they also airdropped their token to the EOS community, so they basically onboarded a lot of the people from there. Ultra was always like its own thing, right? Somewhere else, and actually, also many people believe that Ultra is a private blockchain because it is so kind of corporate, right? And I can understand where this is coming from, but this is not the case. It is indeed a public blockchain, so anyone can really build on top of Ultra. Plus, it has an amazing community, and there's a lot of cool stuff happening there. But the main reason, though, why I moved to Ultra is because actually of David Hansen, right? One of the founders of Ultra, the corporation, and he actually reached out to me already a while ago because he took note of what I was building, and particularly the DEX he was quite interested in, and yeah, so we got in touch, had a lot of calls ever since, and he was basically the guy that got me involved into the AOM dApp as well. So yeah, have a really really good relationship with him, and so the whole Ultra ecosystem was welcoming on every single level. The community was amazing. I mean, the way we got we were basically received was really really warm, really nice. As I mentioned earlier, people were even getting involved right in the trusted ceremony and all this stuff. This was really really cool. And then plus, of course, yeah, the leadership, people like David, they were also very very welcoming, very interested in what we're doing, and so yeah, that just has been a super positive experience for me, but for us as a team. And yeah, and then and one thing I also want to mention, what I really like about Ultra is actually the resource model of the blockchain. Again, it's a little bit technical, but I'm a developer, so this is something that I'm looking at, of course. And from all EOSIO chains, I have to say, Ultra has the most convenient resource model, not just for developers, but also for the end users. This was always a massive friction point on EOS, dealing with the resources, and users didn't understand CPU, net, and RAM, and what is all that, right? For developers, it's natural to deal with these things, but it was a massive friction point. And on Ultra, the way they did it with Ultra Power and basically abstracting away completely the CPU and net, and the way it works is just absolutely it's so much better, and it also makes it much more easier to deploy applications on Ultra. So yeah, there are a couple of technical things that I also really really like about it. Design choices they made. So yeah, no, I don't regret having made this choice, and I'm looking forward to all the basically the launch of all these apps now, which I've been working on also for so long. It has been such a long journey. So yeah,
that's cool. It's cool to hear that, because we often for the community, Ultra community, often only see Ultra games, the platform, Ultra Arena, etc. So the whole ecosystem, but don't really think about what is behind. So the blockchain, the technology, and Ultra worked like 7 years to develop the L1 blockchain. So it's something. It's a great work they did. So that's really cool that we start to see the results with protocols like yours. That's really really nice. And you spoke about the bridge. So I'm gonna ask this question as the last one, and then we'll have a little game, but I'm gonna explain it a bit later. So there was rumors you were working on the bridge. I think you confirmed it. So can you share some details, crispy details, or not too much?
Yeah, this is a topic I haven't been that deeply involved with yet, and also that I appreciate that. I definitely have been asked if I want to take a look at the design and everything. A lot has been shared to me already. So yeah, the bridge is also very important for Cloak. We just actually decided to postpone our token distribution for some time until the bridge is live. It is being worked on very heavily. I think that I can definitely share, which is really good because a lot of people have trouble acquiring native native US tokens, which are going to be critical also for our token distribution. So yeah, not so much. I guess I can share there. I'm by the end of this month, I'm most likely gonna finish up on the AOM DApp, and I have been asked to take part in part of the development of the bridge there as well. So I'm looking forward to that. I don't know if I can share it, but probably yes. So what's really cool, or what's really gonna be cool about this bridge is, bridging solutions are always like a headache in crypto because what we like so much about blockchain is what we call trustlessness, right? It basically means we can interact with complete strangers on the internet trustlessly without intermediary. We don't need a middleman, right, to conduct these critical transactions. This is the beauty about blockchain. But as soon as you have a bridge, it's like always a centralized solution, and it always introduces a lot of trust and with that risk, because you need to be able to trust the bridge provider, right? What you actually just do is you lock some coins or some tokens on this blockchain, and then the bridge provider will issue some wrapped tokens, IOUs, whatever you want to call them, on the other chain. And you trust the bridge provider that as soon as you burn the IOUs on this chain, that you will get your real underlying asset back on this chain, right? So it's very difficult to solve that in a way that you can eliminate this trust. But the way the Ultra Bridge is going to work, it is basically entirely being run by the BPs themselves, which you essentially already trust anyway because they are literally running the blockchain, right? So that's a very good aspect, I think, about the solution, because the issue with third parties is always, they might disappear in the future, and then what happens, right, to the bridge tokens and all that. So it's very critical to have this, I guess you could say, as trusted as possible. And from what I've seen so far about the Ultra Bridge, that seems to definitely be, as much as you can ask for, I guess, right? Having the BPs themselves maintaining these bridges, not just to Ethereum, there's going to be bridges to other chains as well. So this is something I think that they solve very well. And then, I haven't seen too many details about the specifics yet. But I'm looking forward to take a closer look. Yeah. But so far, I'm very excited. I guess I'll leave it at that.
Okay, that's very good. We are all waiting for the bridge, and most likely also the DEX. We are very, very impatient about the DEX, let's say. So we can try to play a bit with the blockchain, etc. And with this DEX you built. There was also something. Yeah, you spoke about the token distribution for Cloak. So you said it was a bit reported. Can you tell us when the distribution maybe will take place, or on horizon of time, kind of?
Yeah, so we haven't updated our counter on the website yet, but I can break the news right here on this podcast. So it's probably gonna be postponed until June, which is an additional 3 months. And I understand that might be perhaps a little bit disappointing. We bring a lot of people from EOS, basically, who are really long-term followers, and it has been like a really long time, pretty much 3 years at this point. But people need to understand, that we want to do things properly, and without the bridge, what we just discussed, it would just exclude so many people that would like to participate. So it just makes sense to wait, and I guess I've broken kind of a news about the bridge as well there. So this is about the timeline that has been shared with me unofficially. So please don't take my word for it. But this is approximately the time horizon here. And yeah, this is then also gonna be the time where we are gonna start with the Cloak token distribution, which will have several phases. So this is just gonna be like an initial phase, the first opportunity basically for people to acquire some of the tokens. One very yeah, I guess interesting thing about Cloak is going to be that at the day where the token distribution starts, the protocol will already be fully live on the mainnet. So, the moment you buy the token, basically, you will already be able to use the protocol right away. And I think this is something I was just discussing this yesterday with Cameron. I don't know if that has ever happened in crypto, that at the time of an ICO, the product itself was already live. So I think this is pretty much unheard of. And it's also part of the reason why we need a little bit more time. We all still have like full-time obligations. I mean, I'm currently full-time contracted with AOM and already have been over the past 6 months. Cameron has a day job, so we're doing as much as we can in our free time. And most of the stuff is already developed for quite a while, but it's always a little bit polishing here and there, and you want to have like a really clean launch. You don't want people to run into issues on day one, right? So we're very careful, moving as fast as we can, but also as slow as necessary, to really get things right and have it also tested. So, for example, also, when the Cloak distribution starts, I just said it, the protocol will be live, but that also means, it's not just that you will be able to cloak your assets. Third-party applications will be able to integrate with Cloak from day one, basically. And in fact, the token distribution itself is going to be somewhat of a demo app that will already showcase the privacy integration with the auction itself, because you will be able to participate in the auction with your Cloak wallet already in complete privacy. So, and it just requires us, we want to have a proper testing phase for this also on the testnet, obviously. So there's just, still like a few things that we need to solve. But yeah, I guess 3 months is an absolute realistic timeline. I'm pretty sure there's not going to be any more delays other than that. We're pretty much ready, but again, I currently don't have any time to really fully work on this. It was also unexpected that my contract with AOM wasn't supposed to get to be that long, but also there it just takes as long as it takes, right? So yeah, but a lot to look forward to. I guess this year for Ultra, there's like a lot is gonna go live, right? We have the new bridge, we have AOM, and then Cloak and the DEX, and who knows what more. So what does it really matter, right? Having to wait 1 or 2 more months, perhaps. So it has been a long journey, and people have been waiting for that long. We're not gonna rush it now on the final on the final part of the way, basically. So yeah.
Okay, well, that's perfect. Well, anyway, you said also you wanted to take time for Cloak. That's something I think great, because good things take time. So that's really good. Okay, so now let's introduce our little game to finish this interview. So I'd like to introduce kind of a quick challenge with simple rules to you. So you will have 60 seconds to answer a series of questions with just yes or no. So no explanations, just a straightforward answer. And I stop you when the time is up.
Okay.
So are you ready, Matthias?
Yes, let's go.
Okay, let's go. So do you think privacy will still be a major issue in 10 years?
Privacy? Yes.
Are you optimistic about the overall future of blockchain technology?
Yes.
Is it realistic to assume that a blockchain can never be hacked?
No.
Is collaboration with established communities like Zcash essential for Cloak's growth?
Essential, no, but nice to have.
Okay. Will blockchain solve all privacy issues in the future?
Probably not.
Will private transactions remain completely untraceable?
Probably not, because cryptography usually breaks after some decades.
Is maintaining digital privacy essential for safeguarding individual freedoms?
Yes.
Do you think a clear token distribution plan is crucial for a project's success?
Yes.
Do you think that governments will accept the use of privacy-focused technologies today?
Well, they won't have a choice, so yes.
Okay. Will privacy be a crypto native this year or next year?
Yes, it already is, in my opinion.
I think so too. If you had to choose a blockchain today to build Cloak, would you still choose Ultra?
Yes.
Would you support regulations that promote stronger privacy measures in blockchain?
No, because I don't support any regulations.
Okay. Will all blockchain privacy solutions be universally adopted without any resistance?
Probably not.
Would you recommend Ultra's blockchain to other developers working on privacy projects?
Yes, because of Cloak, it's already there.
Will future blockchain projects automatically secure privacy, user privacy, without extra effort, like directly in the app?
If they integrate with Cloak, yeah, then it's not gonna take much effort.
That would be perfect. Do you expect blockchain privacy features, and that's the last one, to evolve considerably in the next 5 years, like new protocols, etc.?
Yes, I think so. You have already
Okay.
seen a lot of that, right, over the past decade. Like so much innovation happening in the space, mainly driven by Zcash. And we see a literal boom in these ZK projects taking place right now. So yeah, I expect this to continue for a lot longer, because blockchain and zero knowledge is just such a great match, and privacy is definitely gonna be more and more of a topic. Yeah, it was a longer answer there, but that's an interesting question for sure.
Okay. Well, anyway, Matthias, thank you very much for this interview. I think you answered all the questions the community could have. At least that's the question we had. So thank you very much for your time. And also thank you to JC, because I didn't introduce him at the beginning, but he's here since the beginning for the logistic of this call, of this X space. So this was the second interview for Ultra Times for this format we have. That's definitely not the last one. We may see you again, Matthias, for the token distribution or something else. Articles and threads will follow. And again, thank you for your time. Thank you, JC, for the logistics. And see you guys. Maybe you want to say something, Matthias?
Yeah, no, thanks a lot for having me. Great questions. It's great to share all this with the Ultra community. Again, we love the engagement that we already had. And yeah, thank you so much for having me. And I would love to come back.
I just want to say for the community, I really appreciate the work you are doing, and you said you appreciate Ultra community, etc., because they are very welcoming. We appreciate builders that add real value to the ecosystem. You are one of them, so thank you very much for the time you put on Ultra, and can't wait to use the protocol. I will do the trust ceremony, by the way. I will do it. So
Cool,
thank you
yeah,
very
that would
much.
be great.